Hello, welcome to this month's session of Off the Cuff. My name is Ron Martin. I'm a sergeant with the City of Summit Police Department. Today, we have three special guests on the show. Sergeant Daly, Officer Eriksen, and Officer Deets. These fine men lead the traffic unit in our agency. So we're going to learn today what is the traffic unit within inside the City of Summit Police Department, what their responsibilities are, and hopefully any questions that you have ever had in your mind will be answered today. But at the end of the show, we'll give you some email addresses and phone numbers to where if you have any questions or where we could follow up, we'll be glad to get right back to you with the answers to your questions. So first, I want to welcome Sergeant Charlie Daly to the show. Hello, Charlie.
How are you doing, Ron?
Good. It's your second time here, buddy. First time, you were Officer Daly. Sergeant Daly. You've been promoted. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So what happened during that promotion? You are no longer in patrol. You're in the traffic unit here in the City of Summit Police Department. What is your role, your new responsibility as a sergeant in traffic?
Since my promotion, my responsibilities and duties have changed within the Summit Police Department, from patrol and before that community policing. I am in charge of out in the field supervision. I work alongside Officer Eriksen and Officer Deets. We do everything from education within the schools, investigating traffic complaints, traffic collisions. We do traffic campaigns that are launched throughout the state.
What would you say would be the most popular question or concern or complaint that people would have, our residents would have, regarding traffic issues here in Summit?
I would say speeding. Over the years, population has increased, vehicular traffic has increased, and everybody needs to work with each other to share the road, if you will. There's also reality versus perception. When we do get a traffic complaint, we will go out there, we will do a study. We have a radar traffic recorder, and we will put it out for a period of time and monitor how many vehicles go down the street, time of day, speeds. And we get a good idea of what we're actually dealing with. And sometimes there really isn't a problem, but people's perception may think that there is a problem, that the cars are speeding. And this is due to a number of things. You know, roadway. If it's a narrow roadway, cars are going to seem like they're going a lot faster. Wider roadway, cars tend to go faster.
Let me ask you this. Crossing guards here in Summit, they all go through your department, correct? Tell us, how does that work with if someone's interested in becoming a crossing guard? Because I know sometimes this is one of the most important jobs here in the city, is getting our children across the street and back and forth to school safely. If somebody's interested, what could they do? How could they apply?
Well, it absolutely is one of the most important jobs that we have here in town, and we value our crossing guards. Mm-hmm. If anybody is interested, they can stop by the Records Bureau within the City Hall, right, and they can ask for an application, fill it out, and drop it back off. If we have any openings, we will contact you.
Great. Excellent. Thank you, Sarge. Appreciate that. Chris, welcome. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you, Ron.
So, tell me, how long have you been in this traffic unit?
In this traffic unit, I've been approximately a year now.
You've been in for a year. What's your responsibilities within the unit?
My responsibilities within the unit are to enforce traffic laws, right, radar, cell phones, other safety issues that come about that I'm told to address. I teach DARE in the elementary schools, mm-hmm, and I handle serious or fatal crashes.
So you handle these serious and fatal crashes. What makes you more qualified to investigate more serious crashes, or unfortunately if there's a fatality? What kind of training have you had to make you qualified to do that?
Well, I've been through basic crash investigation and also advanced crash investigation training.
Where do you go for that?
Those were both held at Morris County Police Academy.
How long are those courses? What do they entail?
Each one was 2 weeks, and there is a great deal of math involved. lot of calculations and formulas. Also, it involves going to junkyards and investigating wrecks that have happened in the past based on the cars that are there. So we check tire tread, crush damage, measure all those criteria, and we try to figure out what happened at the scene.
So that's an area, obviously, of expertise where you have had special training to where most officers have not. If it's a car accident, we go there and we see that, you know what, this is a real serious motor vehicle accident. We need to get somebody from the traffic unit. That somebody being Chris Eriksen out there to do a real detailed investigation.
Correct. Myself, Sergeant Daly, and Officer Deets as well.
You enjoying yourself?
Yes, very much so.
What about DARE? You're teaching DARE, I hear. How's it going?
DARE's good. Right now I'm doing DARE in Washington School. The kids are great. I have 4 classes right now, and I'll be doing 2 other schools in the springtime.
Great. Now I'm looking at Sergeant Daly's new sergeant stripes over there, and I'm looking at yours, and I see that you have one chevron with a FTO on the side of your arm. Somebody could walk in town, and you could pass them on the street, and your average person, they're not going to know what that means. What does that mean, FTO and that chevron?
FTO stands for Field Training Officer. I'm responsible for the recruits that we hire, training them. We have 5 or 6 field training officers. I'm one of them. I'll get them at various stages of their field training, and they have to go through about 12 weeks of field training with another officer, such as myself, in order to be eligible to go out on the road by themselves and enforce the law in traffic and all other aspects of law enforcement.
I got to ask you this. We're going to go in reverse just a little bit because I had Sergeant Daly on the show last year. Please share with our viewers where you grew up, how old you were, or when you decided that, you know what, I want to pursue a career in law enforcement.
Well, I grew up in New Providence. I had several jobs in restaurants, in my early years. I ended up in a restaurant in Newark where I met a whole bunch of Rutgers Newark police officers. And I kind of became interested in law enforcement around that time. I think I was about 22 years old. They helped me to get a job as a security officer at Rutgers. From there, I advanced to becoming a dispatcher and applied to multiple departments to try to become a police officer. After that, I decided to send myself through the academy as an alternate route candidate. And before I got out of the academy, I was hired by the Summit Police Department, where here I dispatched for about 4 months before they hired me as a police officer. And I've been here ever since.
I love this show. Just think, these are things, like I never knew. How long have you been here?
12 years.
In 12 years, we've never actually had to sit down and had that conversation of how you ended up getting into law enforcement. That's pretty cool. Thanks for sharing that.
Welcome.
Jeff,
Yes, sir.
welcome to the show. You're close, reaching on out. Good
sir.
to see you, buddy. How
Glad
you
to be
doing?
here. Outstanding.
Good. Jeff Deets, he is not our newest officer, but he's our youngest officer. And I got to tell you, we really enjoy having you. You were one of the newest hires, youngest hires, that we've probably had in maybe 30 years. And what a blessing it was to bring you on board. It was
Absolutely.
definitely a home run for us and for the residents in Summit. So tell us, when did you get interested in law enforcement? You wanted to be a police officer, and you landed here in Summit. How did all that happen?
My brother is also in law enforcement, also with the Summit Police Department. I saw how inspiring he was as a police officer to all the residents and whatnot. And I knew from that time that something I wanted to do. So I became an auxiliary officer here right out of high school. I was 18 or 19, I believe. Did that for a few years, and I had the pleasure of getting hired at the age of 21, very young.
And you're in college. You're enrolled in college at that time, right?
Yes. At that time I had my associate's degree. I was going to complete my bachelor's degree, which I had to take some time off from to get situated and go through the academy and all that stuff to learn my job here. And now I'm currently back in school trying to accomplish that degree.
Right. I remember we had that conversation in the back parking lot of headquarters when I heard you were getting hired. And I said, what are you going to do? You're going to continue your education, correct?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, because we know how important that is here in the Summit Police
Absolutely.
Department.
I'm almost
and
there.
When will you be finishing?
I should be done in June of next year, of 2018.
June 2018. You're going to
Yep.
be done. You have your bachelor's.
Yep.
In what?
Business management.
Very good. Fantastic. How are you enjoying the traffic unit? How did you end up in the traffic unit?
I've always enjoyed the traffic aspect. I find it very interesting that, investigating crashes and things of that nature, finding the correlation between motor vehicle stops, traffic enforcement, and traffic accidents. So it's always something that interests me, and I had the pleasure of coming to the traffic unit and narrowing down my skills a little more.
Great. I want to go back to you, Chris, just for a moment. You touched base on, you went through the alternate route. What does that mean? You went through the alternate route program. What is the alternate route program to be
Well,
hired as a police officer?
Most officers in the past have been hired by a police agency and sent through the academy,
Right.
represented by the police department that they're going to work for.
Like Jeff was.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Exactly. In my case, I did not have a police department that was representing me, so they offer a test to see whether or not you're eligible to go through on your own without representation from a police department. You pay the tuition, you buy all your uniforms, you do everything on your own. You report to the police academy just like any other recruit would, except you don't have any patches or anything on your uniform that would indicate where you're going. And throughout the academy, I had to interview with multiple police departments and try to get a job. Luckily, I landed here, which is in the town that is right next to the town that I grew up in, so it couldn't have been more perfect.
Right. Fantastic. Let me ask you guys this. We are in the month of November. I'm sitting here clean shaven. Sergeant Daly's clean shaven. Jeff Deets. What's up with this?
Well, I am participating in what we call No Shave November, which the information is available on our Facebook page,
Right.
which our Chief Weck, has allowed us to grow facial hair to raise awareness for cancer and cancer research. We are required to solicit some donations for this good cause, and so far I believe I'm up over $200 in my donations.
Well, you wear it well. It looks good on you.
Thank you very much.
So last day of November, it has to come off.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Last day of November, we're going to be approaching Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's. Very, very busy time for the Summit Police Department in a lot of different areas. I would say one of them especially would be with traffic. No doubt about it, town's congested. Parking's tough. DWIs are up, unfortunately, that time of year. What have they been like last year, say DWIs, in the year before? Would you have somewhat those stats? Or are they less? Are they staying the same? Are people getting the message not to drink and drive?
I'm going to say that people are getting the message with services like Uber and Lyft. People are taking advantage of it.
Amen.
And saving lives.
Great.
So, hopefully we continue to build upon that.
And we will be bringing out extra patrols, as we always do, every year to enforce DWI. While DWI patrols will have more people on the outskirts of town and within the city downtown, making sure that our residents are safe, people who are coming into town shopping are safe, and we work in one of the greatest communities in the state of New Jersey, and I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know. Since the community, I want to talk a little bit. I know the traffic unit reaches out a lot, along with the rest of us, with the Summit Police Department, with community. I know you guys, though, spearhead some great projects throughout the year, so don't be shy. Let's share a little bit, if you would elaborate on a little bit of that, Charlie, what you do with your unit throughout the year with the community.
Not only just the campaigns that we do that are statewide initiative, a lot of the things that we do are within the schools. So we're targeting the youth. And we have a lot of great programs that we do. The Drunk Busters program, which it's a simulated being impaired, or driving impaired program. So basically we have these pedal carts. The kids will put on some vision impaired goggles, so their vision is impaired. They still have all their motor skills. But they have to navigate through a course, and it kind of gives them a little bit of a taste of how difficult and how dangerous it actually is.
What kids get to do this?
Right now, they'll do it in driver's ed. We have done it for a couple of the other classes within the high school, but we're really targeting the driver's ed kids, or just approaching the driver's education program. This way they kind of have a little bit of a jump, a head start, if you will. We also incorporated texting and driving, which is more common.
Huge
because
distracted.
everybody has a cell phone, and the thought of answering that phone is going to be in the back of your mind. It can wait, and that's kind of one of our mantras that we'll put on like our very message board. The text, it can wait. The phone call, it can wait, to wherever you're going. Another one of the programs that we do is the Police and Teens Together program. And this is a great program where the kids get to be police officers, and we become the kids, or the motorists in the car, and they kind of see what we go through. So it's a little bit of role playing and flipping the script. And we've gotten a lot of positive feedback. So they see why law enforcement do certain things, and procedures that we have to follow and go through, and we kind of see what their view is, and what they're experiencing as a young adult, a young driver. Another program that we also do is the Share the Keys program, and we just actually did that in the beginning of school. All the kids that are driving to school, they need to go through this program. It's mandated, especially if they're going to drive to school, so they can get a parking permit. And it's just basically, we get the parents involved as well. We go over provisional driving requirements, because it has changed substantially since you and I were kids. Also, having that open communication, line of communication with their parents, if there is a problem, that they can reach out to their parents and get a ride home from wherever they're at, if they need a ride for whatever reason. And another aspect of the program would be the distracted driving, and how deadly it is and how it kills. So they have some good videos that are in there for testimonials and stories from people who have lost loved ones. So
What kind of devices are out there on the market today, to where you're in the car, any of us, ourselves, our children, and we can't drive the point home hard enough of the seriousness of staying away from those cell phones while you're in the car? Things you could purchase Amazon, online, to where I understand there's this little bag you could put a cell phone in, and that phone, it will not vibrate, or you will not hear it, even if the volume's all the way maxed, turned up. Do you know of any of these type of devices that we could share with the public that they could use?
I'm sure there's apps that you can purchase. Some probably work better than others, but really, put your phone in airplane mode. This way a message will be sent to whoever's texting you or trying to call you that you're driving right now, and call you when I get there.
One of our officers, his child's 18 years old, and I was speaking with him, and because that's every parent's biggest concern. Well, before cell phones, when we got our licenses when we were young, is when your kid gets their license. I mean, every parent's on their knees just praying, please keep them safe, make good sound decisions. We drill that into our kids time and time again. But this young girl, she takes her cell phone and puts it in the trunk of the car. She knows she cannot get to that cell phone when it's in the trunk. And she turns the volume down so she cannot even be tempted. And she doesn't even need to go online and look for one of these new fancy devices that will deter her from picking up the phone and get her distracted. So really, it's even that simple. But what is it? Discipline. Are we disciplined enough? Are you disciplined enough to make that same move? No doubt. Before we close, I want to touch base just a little bit more with you, sir. Officer Deets.
Yes, sir.
Equipment within your unit, traffic unit, what type of equipment do you guys have and what is it used for?
We're very fortunate to have some equipment that other towns may not be equipped with. We have something called a radar trailer.
Right.
What it is it's used to set up on side streets, main roads, wherever we may need it, to address any type of speeding issue. Basically equips the speed limit on that road. It also has a flashing message board which displays the speed of the vehicles that are coming towards it or away from it. It has blue and red flashing lights, basically as a warning signal.
Right.
Try to get people to slow down a little bit, alert them that they're going a little too fast. Usually it's a pretty decent tool to reduce the speed of vehicles on a road wherever there may be a complaint. We also have a message board that we use to display any type of traffic enforcement details,
Right.
advise the town of any events that we may have, things of that nature. Some other things that we use are a handheld radar unit. I'm sure many of the residents have seen Officer Eriksen and myself standing outside in the cold weather with a little black handheld radar unit. What we do is it basically, people see the police car on the side of the road, they may slow down just for that period of time and speed
Right.
back up again. So instead of seeing the police car, they may not see two people standing on the side of the road with a little radar gun.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of just another tactic of hiding, I guess you could say.
Got it. It's pretty cool. Chris, earlier this morning I was in your office and I said, hey buddy, I said, what is that over there? And you said, those are crash bags. Tell me about these crash bags.
Crash bags are what carries the equipment that we may need to bring to a crash scene of a serious or fatal accident. It's going to have chalk, spray paint, measuring tapes, all sorts of equipment that we're going to need for that particular investigation. We have them also in the traffic vehicles so that we can respond from wherever we are.
So every traffic vehicle has those crash bags.
That's correct.
Gotcha. Well, we are geared up and ready to go with anything that's going to come our way. So appreciate your guys' level of expertise and what you guys do in the schools, outside of the schools, on our streets, and helping fulfill the mission of our police department and keeping our community members and everybody who comes through our town, whether it's to work, educate their children, eat dinner, enjoy a show, or live here. Thank you. Share with our viewers, Chris, you're pretty new in the schools, correct?
Correct.
With the DARE. I think that is one of the most noble things that you guys do. Connecting with the kids, building a relationship with these kids in the community that we live in. We see them all the time, in town, uptown, down at the Summit Pool, no matter where we go. What is that like? Has it turned out to be better than what you even thought it would be like?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was approached about it last year, and yeah, I kind of had my doubts about the whole thing.
Why?
Just because I didn't know whether or not it was for me. But as I thought about it a little bit more, I kind of, I gave it a little bit more thought, and as I got to that point where I decided to say, yeah, I'll do it. I went to the school. I really kind of got a feel for what it was going to be like in the school.
Right.
And even then, I was kind of a little bit hesitant. But once I got into the schools,
Right.
I realized what it's all about. And those kids, they want to engage you the whole time, and they're just totally into it, and you see that it's not about you or me. It's about the kids. So, I'm really enjoying it. I've taught several classes so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing them all graduate at the end of the year.
And that's a real special feeling, because anybody that I've ever spoke to that taught DARE, they would say there's nothing better than when these kids see you uptown, say, hello, Officer Bob, Officer Chris, Officer Joe, Officer Charlie, Officer Jeff, and you had that relationship with them. And then they go off to college and they come back with their friends and they see you on the street and they go out of their way to approach you. That's the kind of police department Summit is. And there's nothing better than building relationship with the community. I think as a whole, we're doing a really good job. And I think you three are doing a spectacular job. And I just want to thank you for spearheading so many of these important projects with the community, including what you guys are doing in the traffic unit. Keep up the great work. We appreciate you. We value you. And I just can't thank you enough. If there's any questions after the show and somebody wants to contact you, what is the best way for them to reach out and get answers to any questions that they may have?
Well, if you visit our website, it'll have an email address for Lieutenant Ritchell, myself, the traffic officers. You can either send an email, you can contact us, our telephone numbers are there, so all our contact information is there. Please, if there's an issue, let us know. We'd like to correct it. And we're always available.
What is your email, Charlie?
C. Daly, D-A-L-Y, at spdnj.org.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Well, guys, thanks again for coming on the show, and wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving, a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and as we go into the new year, we look forward to seeing you in town. God bless you and your families. We'll talk again real soon. Have a great rest of the day.